Welcome to Superangel Insights. I'm your host, Kalev Kaarna from Superangel Investment Fund Venture Development Team. And I'm really glad to have you all here today on a very important topic on how to recruit talent from local and abroad. And before I do introduction, I would check kind of a temperature. So I'm going to do a poll, and I'm going to ask you a simple question. Have you used outsourced recruiting options or not? Have you used agencies, recruiting agencies, or have you used freelance recruiters, or have you used both, or you have not used outsourced options, but you have done it yourself? So submit your vote, and until you vote, I'm really glad to make an introduction to Diana. She has worked in sales, quite a lot, hired people for her team, and now is working in Relancer, which is a startup helping to find talent using outsourced options. And we discussed, but first of all, great to have you here, Diana.
Yeah, thank you.
Diana. And we discussed that we'd like to share with you first, when you are recruiting talent yourself, but what are your options, what the startup should do. Second, why should you choose outsourcing? That you have like two options. You can use agencies, which is more known, and then this is option of using freelance recruiters. Most guys have not heard of. So what the hell is that? And how to use them and how to find them, and what's the benefit over using a freelancer compared to an agency, and is there a point of combining them, and so forth. So our poll shows that most of our guys have not used outsourcing. We have 4 people who have used agencies, and we have 2 people who have used both agencies and freelancers, and 1 who has used a freelancer. So let's kick it off, Diana. What's your suggestion? What's your homework? What you should do if you would want to hire a talent to your startup team? What's the checklist you should go through?
Yeah, I was thinking about that, and I had kind of 8 points to go through, but I will go like 3 things that is most important, and I see that some of them founders that are gonna start to hire are not doing. And the first thing is crucial, that you need to have a candidate profile. So what kind of talent are you looking for? So you really need to think it through. What are those pros and cons and deal breakers and skill sets? And how I know that they are not doing that is because if you look some of the job ads, the information is so blurry that the candidate actually doesn't understand what the founder or the company is looking from them. So definitely you need to know and rumble with this idea, who is your talent? So if you're going to interview the person, you already know that this is the person that I was looking for. But before that, you need to pin down the person, everything about the person, even the deal breakers. We started to use deal breakers as well, because sometimes you find, oh, they have all the good qualities. But again, what will be the deal breaker for your company and your culture? And the other thing that what we even made a mistake when we start hiring first time, that we didn't have a recruitment process. So we kind of thought that on the way, we're going to do everything. It's not that complicated, but it is, because hiring a person is kind of the same as doing a sales. So everything, you need to have a process for that. And you need to prepare before you're going to hire, because sometimes we are, anyways, we have lack of time. we're doing our own thing. We have a job list, what we need to do, and everything is burning. And then we have hiring process that we don't have a hiring process. So really think it through. What will be your hiring process? You can do everything before you're gonna start hire. And then I really recommend to use ATS. And we started to use ATS as well because it makes your life so much easier. You have already processed somewhere written down.
So just for those who haven't heard, what's ATS? It's applicant tracking system.
Exactly. Thanks for correcting that. Yeah, that's true. So we started to using one as well. We started to use Recruitment. It's a Estonian startup, but for us it was so simple and easy to use. So they already had some processes made, and the reason why we selected Recruitment was they have so good thing as a landing page, so you can create your own job ad. So you can put picture there, so it makes your job ad so much attractive, and you can add some information, put some emotions. So, and it's so easy to use, even for me, who is not very good at computers, of course. And then for if you're going to hire abroad, there is asynchronous interviews. So for us was such a time saver. And sometimes if you have hundreds of CVs, it's so hard to even understand which one is good or not. So I saw that we kind of, regarding of the CV, we kind of disclude some of them, and that's just for interest, send it this asynchronous video interview for them. And when I saw the video, I thought, holy. So I thought that why it's necessary. So sometimes again it's hard to understand from the CV, again how they represent themselves, etc. So to make a small introduction call with them, it's such a time consuming. You will get information within 4 minutes and already know if the person is kind of okay for you, for the team. So definitely use it, or if you don't have it, use some other, I don't know, options that they can send you a video, and it is life-saving. And yeah, and the third one for me, it was calculating your costs. So even though if you do on your own, there will be dollar marks there, so it's costly. So you need to understand how much are you willing to invest. So then you know if is it wise to do it on your own, or ask a freelance recruiter or just agency to help you with the project.
Very cool. So candidate profile, process, and if possible, use some tracking system to here, and asynchronous videos that they record the video, you watch it whenever you want. Is awesome tool nowadays. And third, cost calculation. I'd like to go to this candidate profile that you mentioned the deal breakers. Can you give an example that like if I'm first time doing this, that I never thought about like deal breakers, that why like it's obvious that it's better to write them down, that so I can choose that which guys, that I don't kind of make it convince myself that I don't have any other options. I have to take this guy, but actually he has a deal breaker, and I shouldn't hire that guy, even if he is or she is the only one. So give you an example of a deal breaker.
So what we wrote down, it was for us in our culture, is what a deal breaker is, that we definitely need a person who is self-management. So we don't do micromanagement. So for us, it's deal breaker if the person is not willing to learn, or deal breaker is like, I know it all. The person who knows it all, it's so hard to fit to our culture, because we want a person who wants to develop with us. So this one was deal breaker, and definitely I think this is for us was most crucial. But again, you need to have some deal breakers, and sometimes it's very hard to understand from the first interview. But again, if you know how people are kind of representing themselves, you kind of understand that, okay, the person maybe has this I know it all personality.
What's your suggestion also that in startups there's I want like Superman in my team or Superwomen. I want the person who can do everything and
Exactly.
who can like sell and who can do marketing and can do a little bit coding also. That would be awesome. But in reality, such people don't exist, or they are so expensive that you can't afford them. When you say that you have to write the candidate profile, how to get the scope to the like actual level that there are actual people who would fit into this profile, but you don't provide like a huge list of requirements that I want this. But it's kind of a opposite end what you described. But right now I'm very generic. I say I need a marketer. Dot period. That's it. I don't describe anything else. But so how to avoid it? How to find a good balance between this very generic and very long list of requirements?
So we had the same. I think everyone can relate. It's a problem, yeah. So when we list down the skill set that it's necessary, we kind of point out 10 what we really want to have, and then we even maybe make it a little bit lower. It depends, because we want to have a balance that what we are offering versus what we are wanting from them. So if the list what we are offering is so low, we can't add that we want to have a unicorn person, but we don't offer you anything, stock options and almost good salary. Yeah, it should be in balance. And how we did is our job ad. We were thinking that if we want to pitch this idea to investors, how are we gonna do it? So the candidate is kind of the same. They don't know. You will think that you're doing something amazing. For them, you're kind of nobody. So again, you need to think what you want to provide them and what is the big picture. And again, some of them I have seen that they're so certain that they will find that person, this unicorn person. Sometimes you have it, but again, you need to think what will be the daily basis task that the candidate should do. Is it really marketing important to add there? The knowledge, sometimes it doesn't. So if you are a developer or salesperson, you don't know how to find a marketing person and what will be the skill set it's necessary. We had the same problem, but we ask our friends that are in marketing, and they actually help us to make this profile. It actually makes sense. So if you don't know the skill set, again, ask help, and then they actually will rule out most of the things that you're asking from them. So yeah.
That's a really cool advice. That if you don't know, ask others who are in this field and who can tell you that for that position, the daily work is 3 skills. Yeah. And what I've heard also that it's recommended that if you want a variety, like male-female balance in your team, that women read these requirement lists very thoroughly, and they consider that everything is mandatory. Men read it like it's optional, that you should have some of them, maybe. And if you want like women in your team, you should really describe that these 3 things are mandatory, that this is absolutely necessity, but all the other 5 things, it's like optional. Like if it's nice to have, if you have them, it's really cool, but if you don't have, it's not a deal breaker for us. But, would you recommend this in practice also, or it doesn't matter?
Yeah, I recommend to do so. I think it's a good idea to understand how people are thinking when they're applying. So that's why the first thing that you need to know, that the person should know what is the expectation for the company, for the talent. So the job description should be very good. And then you can choose what is the beneficial part and not. We have done it the same. So we know that, okay, so those skills are good if they have, but if don't, it's not a deal breaker for us. And yeah, it's true that we have seen in our candidate that if people are applying, so women tend to be very good at the level. Men are just hoping to. Again, it's not. I don't want to point any names or be stereotypic, but I have seen it have happened. Yeah.
So you mentioned that with candidates, it has to be balanced. But what you require is at par what you offer. And also that for most good candidates, you are a no-name startup, and there's like thousands of no-name startups they can choose from. So how to build up like a good offer for the talent? Because I'm starting, I'm startup, I can't offer like much money.
Yeah.
Yes, I can offer stock options, but they are worthless until I have raised significant amount or I'm closer to exit. So how to build up a compelling offer?
Yeah, it's the same. Fake it until you make it. So
Mm.
again, think as your future talent as your future investors. So to them as well, you're selling the dream. So that's why you need to really sell the dream. And for the company wise, you really need to think. So it's different with whom are you hiring. So if you hiring salesperson, you need to know what they are wanting from the market. So you need to be kind of smart enough to understand what is their needs and can you offer them. And if yes, please be honest and say that. So I know that in startup world, it's very common that, oh, we are giving stock options and we have almost okay salary and flexible and you don't have to come to office. Those are not nothing attractive right now because everybody's offering that. So you need to know like why they should come to you. And I think to sell this vision, where are you heading to? Because everybody wants to be part of big picture. So if you can provide it, it's already sexy enough, sexier than your stock option and almost good salary.
Very cool. So first thing, candidate profile, pitch the vision and offer. So the process. Okay, so I put the ad up. The candidates come. I select, like filter. I do interviews and select. So that's my process. Is it enough, or I should specify something in this process?
Is it enough? If it's enough, it actually depends on your company and needs. Sometimes some of the process are quite quick, but usually we have, I think, 7 different stages. So we have asynchronic interviews, and then we have a homework, and before homework we have a small introduction interview to really understand the person, and then if they're good enough, we will send out homework, and after the homework, we will do kind of tandem interview. So a few of my colleagues will interview the person. And then in the end, we will decide it with our team. So one person is not making decision. So we are kind of including all the team members. That's why the kind of tandem interview is, I think, wise to make so. So you will not be in the dilemma and stuck with this struggle on your own.
How much you should tell the candidate that this is going to happen, that now we just have a small interview, and after that, if everything is successful, you will have then this and that, and then when do you inform the candidate about the next steps?
When we have the small introduction interview. For them, it's important, for us as well. And I always say that it will definitely will be time consuming for us as well. So we are doing our best to be fast as we can, but we kind of giving heads up that the process can be slow, and we are kind of sorry for it. And we sending out, because that's why it's good if you have ATS, so you can send automated information, so emails that I'm sorry, we're slow. Again, so they know that we haven't forgot them. So it's good to treat them well, because you never know when they're gonna join your team. Maybe not now, but in the future. So you really need to take care of your candidates. And that's why you need to have good ATS. It's kind of the same as sales and Pipedrive. You need to have some tools to keep in mind what kind of clients do you have, not in Excel. So definitely.
Very good. Good ideas and good recommendations. Wanted to you said that with Recruit Lab, that a good point is that you have a good landing page for your profile. That do you see that like sometimes like startups where we start with recruiting is I put into LinkedIn that I'm hiring, some kind of team picture, and do the same for Facebook. Why do I need like a job ad landing page? What's the point of it? That everybody else is using, like seems to be using like Facebook and LinkedIn. What's the benefit?
Yeah, I think it doesn't. You don't have to exclude landing page. I think you should include it, and the benefits is it gives you good overview of who you are and what you're doing. As we know that startups are in early stage, nobody understands them. They don't know how big is the team, what they're doing. So those pictures are so attractive. So they want to belong somewhere. Everybody wants to belong somewhere, and if they can see a picture of teammates having fun together, so you think I want to be there. So this is, I think, one thing, and you can add so much more information there that you can't add it to Facebook or LinkedIn. And I think it's a matter of taste as well for us. So job portals are good maybe for branding, but some of the roles it doesn't work. So that's why it's good to make where to find candidates is your own network, social media, and again job ads, depending who we're looking for. So landing page is, in our opinion, it's just good tool to use to kind of sell who you are because you don't have the name.
Just a reminder to all the listeners, you have option to ask questions. So there should be icon questions in your menu bar. So feel free anytime you feel you want to specify something to drop a question there. I wanted to ask about like a cost calculation. Can you walk me through that? Like putting a ad to like LinkedIn or Facebook. Okay, I know there's a cost, but what other cost should I consider when doing this cost calculation?
Of course, I think how we did is again, what was our budget? Limited budget for startups, and because if you do Facebook,
was it in hundreds or thousands? Was your budget
100.
in hundreds or thousands?
It's 100, so almost about like 1,000 for us in our case sometimes. And then we had to decide that should we ask freelance recruiter help for sourcing or should we do on our own? Because one of the costs is your like money wise, and the other one is your time. So you need to really calculate it, everything, how much it will cost. It will cost you anyways if you won't find anything from your network. So if you use cool tools, LinkedIn, Facebook ads, job ads, there are price tags there. So if you divide everything together, so you need to think that, okay, that's actually quite a lot. So should I use already external help or I just gonna go for it? And you need to know it because sometimes it is costly. It will be costly anyways.
So let's move to this using this external help. But we cover the stuff what you can do your own or which you have to do anyway. Even if you hire for, if you use the external help, you have to have a candidate profile and the process anyway, and some kind of budget idea. So what do you see? What are the biggest benefits of using outside recruiting help? And also the second question, what's the difference between using an agency or using a freelance recruiter?
So regarding benefits, definitely if you're going to go from abroad, you will have so good information and insight what's going on in the market, what are those wages that talent are looking for, and again, map down the talent. So I think the knowledge from the other country is good because you really don't have it. And it's good to have some information before you're going to start the hiring even. So the knowledge there. The other thing is that you don't have to quite worry about hiring process. You have a specialist who is doing everything. So again, it's good. And the second thing, I think, third one is you will save time. So if you are already everything is burning in a company, that you don't have to worry every small details, and you don't have to worry that all candidates have some information, and you don't have to be the point of contact because it's time consuming. It's really difficult to hire on your own if you are like doing full-time job as well. So it's definitely like really think it through. Do you have the time to deal with candidates because they have a question and you need to address them? And and I think the most common that when founders are coming to us, they really don't have a knowledge, even talking about local hiring, the wages. It changes so fast. So what is the expectations? What's going on in the market right now? Because it's changing so fast. So like we have seen that even like 60 months, the wages are increased. And again, hiring talent is very difficult. And if you hire locally, it's so expensive. So that's why if you have a chance to go abroad, please choose this option. You will save so much time and money and get good talent.
But the difference between agency and freelance recruiter, agency, based on our poll also, that most who have used something have used agency, and only few know about this freelance thing. So what's the case?
It's weird that I have to explain it every day, and still it's so hard to just kind of pinpoint down what's the main difference. Because for me, it's agencies, boutique agencies, and freelance recruiters. And freelance recruiters, boutique agencies are quite similar. So because some of the boutique agencies, they were freelance recruiters before, and they just kind of built their own small agency. I think the most difference between like bigger agency, traditional agency, and freelance recruiters is that freelance recruiters are definitely much flexible, and they're kind of your own embedded recruiters. And if you start to hire on your own the first time and you don't even know how to do the hiring process, recruiter will help you with this as well. So it will be kind of support for all the process. Agency, they have bigger team. Everything is already written down. They know how to do it, and they will represent you the most kind of fit talent. So if you don't have time to waste and you just want to have the perfect talent and you have money for it, and you are in a rush with the search, definitely agencies are a good choice for you. But it depends on the challenge. So if we are speaking with the founders, we usually, before we're gonna ask, do you want freelance or agency? We already know the challenge. It's easier for them to recommend. So it's because recruitment is so complex. There is no single answer that this is good, this is not, or agency are good and freelancer is not. So the both has some pains and so pros and cons. So you need to figure it out what fits for your challenge the most.
Who would be a good person to ask about it? Like, is it better for me to use agency or freelancer, or how do I understand? Or like, if I make a few calls with a few agencies and a few freelancers, how do I choose that? Okay, seems that for my particular case, it's better to go with a freelancer, or opposite. That it's right now it's better to go for agency. How do I understand it? Like,
it depends again your budget and the profile that you're looking for, and from where. If the agency is again fit with your budget, it's in budget range. The profile is very known for them. They have done this kind of search. So this is important as well. Have they done search for startups? So how do they know so it's so different. So they have to know.
What's the difference? It doesn't seem like I'm looking for a programmer or a country manager, basically like a salesperson. What's the difference if I'm like a mid-sized company or if I'm a startup?
Because to sell a startup, you need to have you need to sell the dream, because you don't have the brand name. So is the person good to sell the dream, and does the recruiter understand your kind of vision as well? Do they believe it? Do they understand how your company works? So this is so important to understand. And if you're going to talk with agency or freelance recruiters, doesn't mind. I recommend to make a Zoom call, not just ask offers. And I know that some of the early stage companies have sent out different requests for offers, and they will not get any emails back. In Estonia, it's super hard right now, technical word, to find a good recruiter who is available for them. So this is another obstacle. So again, we're just going to another road, but how to select, it depends on your needs. So it can be sometimes both are good, But again, does the agency understand your role, your pain? Have they done those searches before? Have they hired early stage startups? And if you go from abroad, it's definitely important. Does the recruiter know the market that you're looking for the person? So yeah, it depends. And sometimes the both are good. So
when you said that it's like a price tags are different, how do the like? Is there a difference? Like, let's take like Germany and UK, two main markets people want to go, and they want to hire sales managers or country managers or marketers in a specific market who would know how to do marketing in German. So if I'm looking for like choosing between agency and freelancer, that what's the logic at how much I have to pay upfront or have to pay anyway, and what's the signing bonus, or how does the system work at this, especially like for outside countries like Germany and UK?
So it depends what kind of pricing model do you prefer. So some of them in UK it's very popular success fee. So you will have to pay until then if you get a candidate. So it's quite popular in agencies. Freelance recruiters doesn't offer that. It's quite rare if they do so. Freelance recruiter is navigating with hourly fee or with bonuses. It depending on the countries again. UK there is daily based taxes or daily, so you pay by daily or by hourly. And again, it depending on your own needs. So if you're gonna choose the success fee, then you need to know that sometimes it can take up to 6 months for you to find the talent. So if you are in a rush, I really recommend a company that or agency or freelance recruiter who is kind of devoted to you. It's very common in Estonia that they will do only one client and they make exclusive contract. From abroad, it's not that similar. In Germany, it's kind of the same. That you're asking prepayment. Usually, it's 20 to 30% before starting the job, and so the both are asking usually 20 to 20% of annual salary is the whole amount that you have to pay for the, and again it depending. Success fee is definitely much pricier and higher than fixed, but with fixed you need to pay upfront before anything, so it's kind of risky. But you need to calculate, do you have time to wait for the ideal candidate with the success fee? And usually if you considering success fee, that means that you have different agency is doing your profile. And that means that you will have lots of different application. So everybody is sending you something. So it's quite difficult. Again, it depending everything on you and your needs. There is no singles. It's kind of the same. What is the secret behind a long-term relationship? No, it's it depends on everyone else. So it's very hard to kind of recommend, because in our case it's easy. If founder is coming with the challenge, we already know how to solve it. So we already kind of representing solution for them. In the end, they will make a decision their own. But if you're going to go abroad, I really recommend just to go and to hire external help from the certain country, not from your own country. It can be, maybe, I have heard that it's not always good and decision to make. So you will get so much insight if you talk with different recruiters from the certain country that you want to hire.
Very nice. You gave us a good ballpark of what to expect, and everybody can calculate that if it's like 20% of annual salary, that how expensive it's going to be, and that and in case of success fee, is it about the same range that they as a success fee they take like 20, 30% of annual salary, or?
30, it's quite a lot high. We have some of the agencies
Okay.
that are asking. It's quite high, but usually who is asking is they really have good reputation and they know that they can ask this percent. But
Hmm.
I think 20-25 is kind of what you need to consider if you are really like if we're
Okay.
speaking Germany and UK.
Hmm. And I liked your recommendation that you should actually speak with a person who is actually doing the recruiting, because you have to understand that that recruiter is representing you, and the first impression what talent gets is not your company; it's going to be the recruiter.
Yes,
So if a recruiter is not a nice person, then it's going to be a bad impression on your company.
exactly.
And also I think that this asking that what's your workload, how many other stuff is on the table for the recruiter, because like, as you said that in UK they work based on success fee, and they have like plenty of work on the table, so they kind of try to work with as many clients as possible, because they get paid only if they succeed, and they don't know with which company they succeed, so they take as much as they can, and which means
Yeah.
that it's more like shooting a cannon. It's not like a sniper shot that they are targeting directly for your purpose. They just spread it as much as possible, because this is how they get paid.
Exactly. And
So
And definitely, who will kind of win is if the person has the higher the wage, the better for the agency. So this is the other thing as well. If you're gonna do the success fee, and I'm not saying that's bad. It works. The system have to and have been in the market for a long time. I understand why founders are kind of want to have this option because they don't know the person, they don't know this agency, and for them it's much comfortable to pay when you really see that the person is good fit for you. So I'm not saying that that's a bad option, but you just kind of need to know what is the risk behind it, and what is the truth behind it, and that's the way it is.
I just discovered that for some reason the questions bar doesn't open. So if you have questions, type it into chat that I can see the text in chat. But for some reason there's technical glitch with the questions functionality here. Nice. So we covered um, so yeah, Tanel is asking that are there any good tools that save time on the interviewing and shortlisting process? So you mentioned the Recruit Lab, which helps you to do the interviews, like video interviews, and have the video interviews in the same process, so you don't have to go back and forth
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
different systems. Any other tools what you recommend or what you have seen people using? I know that some guys are doing pipe drive. They are setting up the things in pipe drive and doing some videos. So that's an option also, but not maybe the most convenient. Depends.
Yeah. And again,
Any other
GDPR,
tools?
you need to consider that in
Oh,
Europe
okay.
is GDPR, and again, ATS system is covering it. It's quite risky, so definitely to keep you in mind. And again, I understand sometimes there is lots of CVs and a list of people that you need to go through. And if you really don't have time for it, I recommend to hire a freelance recruiter by hourly pace. It is like, I don't know, 25, 35, you will get the person who will go through your CVs. And if you talk like technical person, I think you can consider like 40 to 55 euros per hour, and it will be much faster, and they will already screen down the kind of best option for you. So maybe consider this one if you have lack of time and you have lots of CVs.
And Maria asked that can you kind of guesstimate that how much time did you save with this asynchronous video interviews that compared
Yeah.
if you have to book the
Uh,
times versus that they do it on their time and you watch it on your time?
yeah, actually,
What's your
we know
guesstimate?
because we didn't use it before, and then our CEO just made a 30 minutes screening interviews with them. So he made it 2 weeks, and I watched videos just I don't know maybe one day. So in the all together, so I think I said a week. And for me, it's important. And I know why our CEO just went through everything, because again, it's very hard to kind of understand from the CV, is a person good fit or not? And if you are in the call with them, you already know is the personality fit is good or not. So you need to kind of go through anyways. And he didn't want to kind of miss out good CVs, so he found the time. And I knew that it's so time consuming for him. And I decided with asynchronous videos, and I think I saved a week. And for me, it's so important. I don't have a week to waste. It's not wasting, but again, investing. I don't have the time.
I'm going to publish a poll, which gets us to the next topic, that talent working remotely. So please, could you answer that? Is a new talent you're looking for? Can they work from any time zone, or they have to be from similar enough time zone, or they can work remotely, but they have to be still in Estonia, or they have to be in office? That you don't see that in your company culture right now. The remote work is not an option. So let's see. What's a temperature among the listeners regarding
That's a good question.
Remote work? So until the votes come in, just to give you to open it up, but why is it important that if you are hiring in current market, which is very hot, with lots of people hiring and talent is very scarce, that why this remote work thingy is still like crucial, or what have you seen which is not working for the advantage of the startups?
Yeah, so if you have option to hire from abroad, so what you will win is you have bigger pool of talent. So I think this is important to know, that definitely you have a bigger pool of talent. We know that in Estonia it's hard to find good talent, and if you have option to find abroad, I really recommend to choose it and build your startup already remote. So it gives you wide opportunity to even to grow different countries. And again, cost-wise, so the hiring cost is much lower if you, for instance, if you hire from Eastern Europe, and time zone is quite similar. So if you have option to hire Eastern Europe, definitely it's much cheaper. You will have more recruiters from whom to choose from, and you have more talent. So I think those three things are definitely go to what you need to consider, or I hope you will consider to do so. I'm not saying that you shouldn't hire from Estonia. Most of our team members right now are from Estonia, but we definitely get open-minded, and we went abroad and we found good talent from there, and super happy that we did it. And it works for us. And if you make it happen, it can work for you as well.
And just I totally agree, and our poll also showed that majority is willing to accept that the guys are from a similar enough time zone, but not working from Estonia. It definitely opens up your options. Only thing I would add here is that building a team and learning about the other person, it's like 3 times slower compared to if I work or if you meet like at least weekly face to face. So you have to build in, like, the onboarding process has to be different compared to what you are used to when a person comes in physically, in order to have the same culture, values, what you're building in the startup, and get to know the people enough at what makes them tick and what doesn't. And so that's the only downside, but there's ways how to do it. You just have to, like, the best option I would recommend is to go talk to startups who are like remote for several years, or most of her team. I know a few. Probably if you Google, there has been like these remote work conferences, webinars, where a bunch of Estonian startups have shared their experiences. So look up who were the guys who share their experiences and go knock on their door and ask it, how do you do onboarding, and how often do you actually gather physically or get together, or some way that to build these trust and bonds and so forth.
That's true. And definitely it's difficult, but you can make it happen if you want to. So we have our own struggles as well, but I don't know, right now it's working good. I don't know. Because everybody in Estonia is remote anyways, we are not seeing each other. We're working home office, and so it doesn't matter if it's, I don't know, some part in Estonia or somewhere else. We just need to kind of figure it out how to make it work. And it's good recommendation to ask from others. We have done it all the time. We ask from the others, and we have good option to ask from recruiters. So we have some of the clients that are the biggest one in Estonia. So most of the people are remote. So we can ask hiring manager how you deal with it. But definitely there are some webinars and information out there that you need to kind of read and get some tips and tools for it, how to make it work.
Yeah, it's not rocket science. It's a skill, but it's you can train and you can do it. Awesome. So if the audience has some questions, and we have some time left for the questions, but I guess we have covered like the main things, what you have to do on your own anyway, like candidate profile, think through the process, how many steps you want to build in, and keep it like not too long, otherwise candidates will run away, and what kind of tool are you going to use to track it. And nowadays the talent is impatient, they want to know what's going on, so automated email streams or systems is a benefit. It's a bonus that they feel that something is positive happening, that you're not ghosting them. Then your budget, that
Did Kalev disappeared? I don't know. Did somebody see me? I have questions. I'm gonna answer. Maybe. I don't know if I'm alone here, or what kind of homework did you use recruiting process? So I'm gonna start to answer questions because. So what we did is we made. It depends who we were looking for. For instance, if I was looking for account managers, I was doing homework that is actually case study from my own. Hi.
Yeah, I was kicked out. I probably said something wrong.
Okay.
I'm back.
I saw one question there. I wasn't sure that am I alone or anyways, there was one question I got regarding homework. I was just explaining what kind of homework we did because I didn't know what to speak about. And yeah, I was just saying that we did homework that actually case studies that we did in like what we actually did in our workplace. So for instance, some situation with the clients and we wanted to know how the account manager will handle it, and some sales question, etc. It depends on the role, but definitely can be what really happens to your own company as well. So, and homework were quite tough. It wasn't easy. So you need to do a little bit research, and wanted to know if the candidate is willing to do that. So yeah. I'm happy that you're back.
All right. Let's see if we have any other questions. So Alex is asking what are the trends in recruiting? Like everybody's using more video format. What else do you see?
It's a good question. I'm not sure if I'm right person to answer that because I'm not recruiter myself. So everything what I shared was my own experience that we are using. But because we usually when we speak with the founders, we're already connecting with the recruiters who will kind of make everything happen. So it's a good question, but I think I will answer it later.
Mm-hmm. Kaido is typing something, so let's wait for his question. Yeah, I think we covered the most important stuff also on what's the benefits of using outside help, especially if you're hiring like a country manager in Germany. That German recruiter would know about. Kaido is making a compliment to you, Diana.
Oh,
So,
thank you.
so that the local guys know the salaries. They can tell you what to expect in terms of can you hire or not hire. Then agency versus freelance. Agency is working. They have a bigger, more power, bigger network. But when you go to UK, usually they use the Canon approach. So you have to make sure that the person who is working for your cause, that they understand your vision and can sell it, and they have successfully hired for startups. That it's not the same as hiring for established companies. Yeah, with the pricing, there are success fee or hourly or daily logic, and just make sure that it fits to your budget and you understand it beforehand, and there are no surprises later on.
Maybe I would just point
Awesome.
out one thing that that is important for if you're gonna hire external help, you need to understand what will make you kind of successful. How you make the collaboration successful is that is very common. What we have heard that the founders doesn't have very good experience with agencies, and how to prevent it is easy. So if you decided to go, okay, I'm going to go for abroad, I will hire external help, a recruiter, it depending agency or freelance. But what is important for you to understand that really make a few calls with them and ask, and the call just, if you do agency, understand if the person is the recruiter or the salesperson. So definitely just talk with the really recruiter. We have seen sometimes is a salesperson in the call, and I can see it's so different because they're selling everything. They agree of everything. They don't disagree with you, and that's not good. And some of the recruiters are quite straightforward and say that you go to the market, you're nobody, it's difficult. So it's, again, just talk with the recruiters. You get the information there. They're willing to make a call with you if they're interested of you. And if you ask the offer, sell the idea for them as well, because you're not the first startup who's reaching out. If you're doing it in Estonia, definitely important to kind of make yourself bigger. And the other thing is that we have seen that gut feeling, weird thing, but really that gut feeling says that, okay, this is the right person with whom to collaborate. So if the recruiter is, you can do the check, the budgeting, knowledge, and etc., and then choose the person who is having the best match, because recruitment process is not easy. It's difficult if you're doing the first time, and it's time consuming. And it doesn't mean that in 2 weeks you have a perfect candidate. It takes time. Sometimes it's like 60 days, even more, 3 months. So it's long-term relationship. So make sure that the partner is someone you trust. So that's important. So don't just take whatever, maybe it fits, don't care. Really, like, be certain that the person is good fit for you.
One more question came in. Why do you think some clients prefer working with freelancers over agencies? Would you say it's a previous bad experience with agencies that they would rather work with freelancers?
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes it's very common if I ask, do you have experience with agencies, and they say yes and it's negative. It's very common. and they think that freelance recruiter is much better fit. Again, it depends. If you have 5 different roles and you are in a rush, you needed urgency. So I think agency is good fit. Just to select the right one and kind of talk about your expectations, and if you have bad experience, learn from it and talk with the new agency. Had this bad experience, how we can make it better. I don't want to kind of burn again. What we do, we kind of support recruiters, founder and recruiter to the end of the project. So we always ask, is everything okay? Because we have had a few not successful collaboration as well. So that's a learning point for us and the founders, that we want to support them as much as we can. But again, just be very open-minded, be super honest, and talk about your fears regarding of collaborating with agencies. And if you have bad experience, talk about it and really be kind of rough with it. And if you speak with a recruiter, really kind of ask so much question as you can, so understand if the person is right fit for you. It's kind of like hiring your first talent. You're hiring a recruiter with whom to collaborate.
So final question, I think, that how to find these freelancers. That one is like go to LinkedIn and Google, or like search in LinkedIn or Google. The other option is use Relancer, which is like a platform. So what would you suggest that how to when we talked about tools, that how to use a Relancer as a tool, that as it's already done some work, that if you bluntly go to Google recruiter in Germany, then you will get all kinds of stuff. But Relancer has done some work for you. But what's your like few main tips how to use Relancer in the best way that you could actually find the guys who can do a good job for you in recruiting?
Yeah, that's a fair question. So I can promote what we do. For founders, for companies, our service, our platform is for free. So you don't have any cost with us. So that's why we're doing that we don't want to sell to the founder who is not ready to hire. So because the first recommendation, what we do, if you can ask, have you tried to hire yourself? And if they say no, so really go and search from your network and then come back, because maybe you will find someone. So it just don't waste time, your own time and maybe recruiter's time. So, but if really you need to external help, what we do is that we are first mapping down your challenge, and then we are connecting you with different recruiters. So, and then you have a choice between maybe freelance recruiters, agencies, and you have a call with them. So we will kind of organize the call with the recruiters. And what we do, like, really recommend to make 3 calls with them. Sometimes the founders say, "Oh, this is good enough. I will pick him." So just make more calls than one. It kind of gets you better understanding of the market itself. And so definitely make the calls and be transparent and ask questions, like hard questions, and ask recommendations. Some of the recruiters that we have collaborated with, they have already feedback, so we can give feedback. They have done this role and they're quite good. And Estonian-wise, I think we have covered most recruiters, technical recruiters, freelance recruiters. Super hard to find, really super hard to find. And to be honest, they all have lots of work to do. And if you're going to upload your project, really, you need to be attractive there as well. So it depends on markets. But if you're going to hire in Estonia, I want Estonian freelance recruiter for technical roles. It's difficult, but we have kind of make it happen. In other countries, it's easy. There is so good choice of different recruiters, different backgrounds. I think one of the popular recruiter in our database is the former developer who was 7 years a developer. Now he's a recruiter. So he's the most popular guy because he knows when the founder is speaking about the profile, and he knows everything already. So he's like the top talent in our. But we have those guys again more. So and yeah, if you have similar roles, You have, again, similar profile, you need just many people. Freelance recruiter is definitely like cost efficient, definitely. And we usually advise, so some of them are afraid that, okay, how many hours it will take, so how much it will cost. Again, that's why we are kind of keeping eye on the project. We usually watch those reports that recruiters are sending, so how many hours they're doing. And so we can already see some red flags, so we can kind of advise founder that, okay, I think maybe we should move on with another recruiter. So sometimes for them, it's very hard to make this decision to move forward because they have someone who understands them and they are in the pain. So you need someone neutral who help you with the recruitment process. So this is what we do, that we helping founders. We want that everybody has good experience of choosing the right recruiter. Is it agencies or freelance? And we want to make all the projects successful, and everybody has kind of good experience of it.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Diana, for sharing these tips and tools and tricks how to recruit from local and abroad. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the audience also, and see you around, and good luck with whatever you are doing.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
Bye.